Hey guys, it's the Artsy Gamer back again for another video in our channel. Of course, grab your teas, grab your coffees, and yes, maybe a little bit of food. And let's do this. Right then guys, well, normally we'll be taking a sip of black coffee, but I have been a little bit rude and yeah, I've already had mine. So you take yours. And yes, guys, if you are new here today and you are into gaming retrospectives, complete unboxed experiences, art and graphic design, and of course a whole load of nostalgia, then yes, you are so in the right place here. So definitely consider giving this channel a subscribe and a like the video if you haven't already. And yes, guys, if you are enjoying the artsy gamer mess and madness and want to get notified when the next video goes live, then of course just pop on your notification bell, powered by Tails there. Well guys, it's the weekend, so you know what that means. It is a Let's Draw today, and I think I did tease a little bit of a giveaway of what I might be doing this weekend, and yes, absolutely, it's got to be, hasn't it? We are going to draw the iconic box art of Simpsons Hit and Run. We're going to have a little go at drawing Homer here today. Now, I picked this up last weekend, and oh boy, we've been having a fantastic time playing this over on TikTok. Just getting really nostalgic, driving through Springfield as Homer, then Bart, then Lisa, getting random fish and random collectibles to continue and progress the game. Absolutely top-notch fun. And I thought, you know what, yes, to complement that, we do need to draw this today. Absolutely. Now, also in the week, I did tease, actually, again, I've been teasing you guys quite a little bit, teasing you. But yeah, I was thinking we could do a really awesome collaboration here with SpongeBob as well, because, you know, the yellows, they work well together. They have the same kind of comic vibe, don't they? So I might even, go all out and, do it, guys. What I might do is actually, rather than putting Bart and Lisa here in their car jetting through the ring of fire, well, come on. I think this is screaming SpongeBob and Patrick in their burger car to be jumping through there as well, just to mix it up just a little bit, because yes, if I'm just drawing this, it is kind of like a straight copy and paste. And you know me, I'm always a bit like, come on, a straight copy and paste. You want to mix it up just a little bit to make it unique and kind of your own. So yeah, I thought that's how we could tweak it up a little bit. We might even mess with Homer as well. Maybe put him in some sort of, I don't know, pajama pants or something with loads of Patricks all over. I don't know, who knows? But we could get creative in that aspect as well. So yeah. But today, anyway, we are just going to do the draw. We're not going to color anything, and I probably won't even do the burger car or anything like that. I might actually save that for my own time, as I do like to take the viewers through a step-by-step process on how to draw these things, and that actually might get a little bit complex, so I might go away and do that in my own time. But yes, what I would like to do is just take you through the drawing framework, I guess, of how to draw Homer here. We'll start off with the head, and maybe the head might be just enough for some people. If you are a little bit, and you are quite confident with the pencil, then yeah, you could then join me to do the rest of the body. So yeah, absolutely. And I can just tell you where people can drop in and drop out as we go through. So yeah, there we go. I thought it would be really fun to do. And you know what, guys, come on. We are so very close to 400 subs. So this might even be the 400 sub giveaway. I don't know. There are a lot, but it could be. So yeah, another little tease I'm giving you there. So anyway, a little bit of media that we may need is some cups again, something with a circular base or top, a small one and a larger one if possible. That will just help us build out Homer, and then we'll pretty much go from there. Yes, you do need a pencil, of course, a nice pencil. Yes, hopefully you guys have now got a pencil with a rubber at the end. It really does provide really good dexterity as we're rubbing out things, because yes, you will be rubbing out things just to move things here and maybe fatten something out here. That's just how my artwork is. So yeah, there we go, guys. What we're going to do then, we are going to set up in our art studio, and then we'll get cracking with this really awesome Homer that we're hoping to do this weekend. Okay then guys, and here we are ready to start drawing the Homer piece in the art studio. Now I've got everything that I need set up all to one side, so I've got my Homer box here for a bit of reference. I've got my cups off to the left here actually and a ruler. Sometimes I like to do my lines freehand, I am quite confident with that, but there are some viewers that do like to use a ruler as well, so I'll probably chop and change as we progress through this. Right then, so here we go. We're going to get started and we're actually going to fill out Homer in just some basic shapes to begin with. So as we can see here, we've got Homer's head, and I would say that's quite a small circular shape that we're going to use here. His body is obviously quite a big circle, so that's when we're going to actually move to the bigger cup. And then his legs here, they are actually swooshing around if we actually draw from the knee all the way around from the heel of the shoe all the way up to his right shoe here and back down. And that's quite a kind of like an oval shape there. So we probably actually will work a little bit freehand there and draw an oval shape. And then that will be basically the building blocks to build our Homer, no pun intended. So here we go. Just follow along with me with building up Homer with our circles. So yeah, here we go then. I'm going to get my cup first, and I'm going to use the one that has a nice smaller circle first to build out his head. Now what I like to do is go for a bit of a smaller piece. I have said it before on this channel. If we're going with a big A4 piece, it can be quite overwhelming as to where to start. But with a smaller framework to use, you can really just kind of envision it on that smaller paper, especially as the PlayStation 2 box here is an A5 size anyway. So this really is a great representation here to help us along with the project. So here we go. I'm going to place my cup, my smaller cup, just slightly off to the left and nice and high up the paper. I would say 3/4 of a way up the paper. And that's going to, mark out his head. And I'm going to lightly go around this in my pencil here. I do apologise about any shadowing, first time YouTuber and all that. Haven't quite mastered my lighting yet. Okay, lovely. Nice, so there we go. We should have a nice circle there. It should pick up okay on the camera, but we do need it to be nice and light, so yeah. Right then, okay, so now I'm going to move on to the bigger cup here, and I'm going to basically build out his body. So I'm actually going to just move it, I would say just about there. So I would say almost smack bang in the middle of the A5 piece of paper now. And it is just in line with the head shape there. So it's just touching on that head shape there. All right. Okay. And it's not quite directly under. It is slightly off to the side of the head there. Okay. And again, I'm just going to lightly go around that in my pencil. So off I go. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. It really doesn't. Just a light mark will do, because most of these lines will be rubbed out anyway. It is just very much a guideline. All right, and again, there we go. We'll just take that off there. There we go, lovely. Right then, okay, so now we're having to go a little bit freehand, and I would like to work almost like an oval shape now. You've got to imagine there's an oval shape with no mark taken away from the paper to mark out his knees, his feet, all the way looping back round to his feet and knee again. All right, so that's what we're going to have a little play around with now. All right, and it is very much just an oval. You've really just got to envision a circle, but a bit of a squished one. And guys, if you have got something like an oval shape to draw around, then go ahead and do that, absolutely. Unfortunately, I don't, but I know you can get you know, from stationery shops. Lots of different shapes that you can actually draw around if that's helpful. I know, I think the Works in the UK has a few kind of like knickknacks that easy draw stuff to help you, and they have different shapes. So yeah, it might be worth looking for that if you are a little bit uncomfortable or not that confident to kind of go freehand at this stage. But here we go. I'm just now going to work my oval shape. All right. And I'm just going to bring my oval shape just a little bit in towards that bigger circle that we've just drawn, because if you notice his knee here, it does actually come over the top of the circle a little bit. All right, so we're just going to work that oval in. All right, so here we go, just very lightly. I'm not, you know, worried about it too much at this stage. This is very much freehand, and most of these will, you know, lines will be rubbed out. All right, and there we go. That is my oval there. Especially when these are the feet, you know, and legs and stuff like that. It really doesn't have to be perfect. It's just something that kind of mimics, you know, an oval will do. So yeah, and a lot of it will be fattened out eventually. So actually that kind of gives me almost like this, the Sonic legs, you know, the spin off and shoot. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Spin off and shoot, so yeah, that's pretty cool.
Right then, okay, lovely. So we've got basically our building blocks for Homer now. Wow, we could actually now work those iconic arms, couldn't we? You know, those arms that are just out there like a zombie. He's running away like an absolute lunatic, isn't he, with those arms out? And what I would advise is maybe actually just drawing a rectangle from the back of the circle here, forwards and past the front circle there, which is mimicking his head. So why not? As we're here, we can do that, and then we have all four, I would say, basic shapes to help us build out our Homer. For example, the head, the body, the legs, and the arms. So, okay, here we go then. I'm just going to now, again, just do a basic shape, which will be a square. Oh, actually, rectangle, sorry. Let's get our shapes a little bit correct here, mathematically correct. This is now a rectangle, guys. So of course, yes, absolutely, if you would like to use your ruler, please do. But again, it really doesn't have to. These are basic kind of wonky shapes, so you really don't have to. But for those that do, I will. So I'm just going to now place a ruler, okay, and I'm just going to now work this from the back of the circle outwards. All right, and again, his arms are quite fat, so I'm just going to move it down. It could even be, you know, almost the width of the ruler there, but again, it's really up to you guys. And again, I'm just going to now just draw a basic line just through there like that. There we go. And I could just curve it off there a little bit. There we go. Nice. All right then. Okie dokie. So obviously it looks a bit stupid at the moment, but if you're a bit of an OG subscriber of the channel, you'll know at this stage these basic frameworks do look absolutely wacky and really, really stupid, but they do come together eventually. So what we're going to do now then, guys, we're going to actually start to work Homer's head first. We'll build out his features and then we'll go from there. Right then, so Homer's head is actually quite elongated. It's not quite a perfect circle. As you can see here, it's very long. He's got a very big forehead. So yeah, I think we'll start to maybe work his big oval forehead to start with. All right, so what I'm going to do is, guys, I'm actually going to work a bit of a line now to build a neck in, and that neck is then going to help us feed our kind of oval shape of Homer's forehead. And again, if you want to use a ruler, please do. So where we made the lines of his arms there, I'm actually just going to draw a line straight up there. Okay, so this is now acting as a bit of his neck here. Okay, just like that. Now, his head actually veers off to the left a little bit. Okay, so now again, if you want to use a ruler, you can. And I'm just now going to angle it off slightly to the left here. And again, if you just follow my pencil marks, guys, you'll be absolutely fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to angle off his head and I'm just going to, jet it off up that way. There we go. And again, guys, this is all very basic shapes and just follow along with my pencil marks and you should be fine. Okay, lovely. So what I think would work well is actually, guys, is just adding maybe a little bit of a guideline to where we want his eyes to go and a bit of a reference mark there so we don't lose any of those features and they don't come, we lose the proportion. That's what I'm trying to say. So I would say now from where we've just drawn that line, we might just come through the center, all right, and actually just draw a line straight through the center of the circle now. And that will just help us just align the eyes and the nose and stuff like that. I think that will really, really help. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm now just going to bring this line right the way around and then probably feed it in to where we made this pencil mark here, okay, because we are not going the full, what would you say, circumference of the circle because his head is in a circle, all right, and this is where we can really start to go freehand now and work kind of those, lines. All right, there we go. And they might protrude out a little bit. All right, okay, nice. So there we go. We've got Homer's head and we've just made a big arc, haven't we, there? And then we've just kind of come in line with the line that we've made there. There we go. Perfect. So again, if you just follow along my pencil marks, you'll be absolutely fine. Now at this stage, we can rub out the unnecessary lines. So here we go. This is where that rubber comes in handy. And we're just going to rub out everything that we don't need. And of course, just remove that debris away. There we go, nice. And we don't need any of these lines here. And then this is where it really kind of, starts to come alive a little bit, see basic features now, which is cool. Right then, okay, so good job that we did keep most of this circle here. Because if you do notice, his beard and his eyes and his nose do protrude out slightly. So we're going to use that circle to help us a little bit, build in more of these characteristics of his face. All right. So, you know what? I think that line has actually worked perfectly. We can actually make that into his nose, I think, and then we can build his eyes more upwards, basically. I think that will work quite nicely. And from his nose, then we'll actually make a bit of a C shape and we'll curve it all the way around to make a chin. I think that will work really nicely. So let's build in this nose first. All right. And I would say we'll just come from here and then, nice. It's quite a sausage shape. Would you call it a sausage shape? Yeah, I would call it a sausage shape. Why not? There we go. So we've just made a basic sausage shape now with your pencil, which I think works really well. Okay, and then we can actually start to add his kind of mouth and his big beard. Okay, so we can kind of loop that round. Okay, all right, and then we're going to make a big C shape now, I think. Again, very, very freehand at the moment, and of course, when you get your black liner, you can start to fill out a lot of those shapes and stuff. And more, characteristics, I'm trying to say there. All right, okay, so nice big C shape there. It's coming right down, actually. Nice, okay. And it does have a few teeth, so we'll work that in a minute. And actually from his nose now, so if you just look carefully here, his nose, the bottom of his nose actually just does feed all the way around now, if you can see that there. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to follow that line right around to meet the bottom of his chin. All right, so that's exactly what we're going to do now. Okay, And again, just following my pencil marks. And we're now just going to feed that all the way around. And then cut through. Nice, and I might leave a little bit of that because I think some of his shirt comes forward there, so yeah. And yeah, okay, so you know what, I might just make it a little bit fatter, just a little bit fatter now. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And again, just rub out some of the pencil marks that you don't need. All right, so there we go, just rub out that, that's pretty good there. We probably don't need a bit of a line here, we can take out that, which is nice. And okay, nice. All right then, so we're really starting to build his head now, aren't we? So that's looking really cool. All right then, so I think before we move on to the teeth, we will just build out those eyes, and then that will really give us an idea of every single feature of his face. It really will help us build out those teeth. Actually, we don't want his teeth to be massive compared to his eyes and stuff like that. So I always do think once you've got some basic features, then always move to the eyes, because that really does set the scene. That really does then gauge, right, how big the ear should be or how big the tongue should be, for example. So yeah, there we go. We'll move on to his eyes now. And just two big circles. They do overlap, so we've got one big one here. His left one is very big and his right one does overlap. You do have to notice that, guys. They are not two separate circles. And quite often I see in art, people can think, oh, look, there's two big eyes there. This is just an example. And then yet draw a circle, then a circle, and they are not directly behind one, behind each other. And then that can cause a bit of proportion irregularity. You know what I'm trying to say? Oh, it's a game of rough and ready here. You know my words. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to draw his left eye. If you have got something to draw around of that size, please do, but I'm quite confident to go freehand. So again, here we go. I'm now just going to draw his lovely big eye, and it does come down ever so slightly past his nose. So here we go, just make sure that's nice and big and it's just inwards. Nice. And of course you can adjust, once you've done it. Okay. And then again, I might need it to come out just a little bit maybe. And then here we go, his next eye is coming in. And it's just slightly behind and comes out ever so slightly. Yeah, nice. Oh, okay, that's looking good. And of course he does just have a little bit of a lip. There we go, over his hey, there we go, over his eye. Would you say that's a little bit of his forehead or brow just coming out there? But yeah, there we go. And you know what, guys? Let's add those pupils now. That's when the character really comes to life, actually. So let's add one big pupil right in the middle. Pretty much is. And then we're going to add one big pupil just actually slightly off to the right there for his right eye. There we go. Lovely. Nice. Okay, that's actually not looking too bad, is it? There we go. Brilliant. Okay. Right then, so now we'll just start to add a few more features now. So we'll add those teeth, that wacky tongue, for example, there, and his really weird hair. So, okay, let's add those teeth now. Okay, so these teeth actually come a little bit, there we go, from the side here, and they pretty much are just kind of like little C shapes. Nothing too much, just little C shapes. There we go. And they just feed round the back there. That's pretty cool. And there are just some that just come behind as well. There we go. Nice. All right then. And that actually does just scoot down a little bit there. Of course, you can just work out, rub out thin lines here and there just to get, how you want it. But there we go. Nice. Hey, there we go. That's not looking too bad at all. And then, of course, why not? We'll add his wacky tongue. I know at this stage you don't really have to go too much into detail because, we've got so much to do at the bottom there. But why not? We're here. We'll add that wacky tongue. So it is just like a little wiggly line, is it? If we just bring that closer up to the screen there, like one big wiggly worm, would you say? So yeah, there we go. And it actually protrudes outward a little bit. So why not? Let's get that going. So whoa. And there we go. So there we go. That's actually hilarious. And of course, when you get going with the black liner and stuff, you can fill it out and all that. But yeah, very happy with that. That's looking really cool. And then we can just kind of drop, just the yeah, all right. So that's pretty much his mouth done and his eyes and stuff. So now we can just work a few more features in, like his ear and his hair. I might actually just bring his neck in slightly. So I am just going to rub out this line here. I think his neck does need to just come in slightly a little bit. I would like it to just come down here maybe, and then, I have just knocked the camera, then jet off to the side, and that's really cool. And then we will just work in his ear, and his ears are pretty much in line with his nose, and it is just a big C. Nice big C shape, and then a few little, yeah. Nice. And of course, what is going on with his hair? So these are just zigzags, aren't they? So we'll just add the zigzags of his hair. So there we go. And then his two wisps of hair at the top there. So as he's running away. There we go. Oh my word. Hilarious. All right, okay. So guys, that is pretty much his head. All right. And again, like I said, that's when you can start to build out a few more things, maybe make it a little bit more proportion accurate. Is that what I'm trying to say? With the black liner. And if you want to stop there, please do. You've just done a really awesome character model head of Homer, and that is actually quite hard to do. And what you can do is, if you're just happy with that, just cut it out, and then you've got a really cool character model head to work with. And then you can do what you want with it. Color it in. Maybe put an awesome hat on it, some funny glasses. You get creative with it. Maybe just make it a small little picture. I know you can get some really awesome kind of like I can't remember what they're called now. Simplistic art. Yeah, that's it. Simplistic art. Where you just have a small little piece of art in the middle of a big A4 piece of paper. So you might just want to cut out the head, stick it in the middle, and then have a really awesome like Homer piece, but really simplistic. So yeah, you go to town with that. If you want to now join me for the body, then of course, please do. So here we go. We're now going to just work his arms, I would say, first, because they are quite predominant in this here. And once we've worked those arms in, that will give us enough space to then actually go below and do a lot of the body work. All right then, so we're just going to kind of ignore the fact that he's got a t-shirt on at the moment. We're still going to very much do the building blocks of this. So here we go. So we did say that we would just catch this off to one side, and a little kind of like C shape that we're going to do here. So let's just bring this in now. A nice kind of C shape. And yeah, there we go. Nice C shape. Okay, and then, like I said, it could, be the building blocks of that t-shirt there. That's really cool. Yeah, why not then? We'll actually make, I would say, a nice t-shirt kind of frame here. All right, okay. And just bring it up here a little bit. Okay, so like a moon shape with a bit more added extra, isn't it? A bit of a moon. Okay, so here we go then. We're going to just draw his arms now. Luckily, the Simpsons hands are quite easy to do because they are just like 4 fat fingers. So here we go. That's what we're going to have a little go at now. They're not directly straight, are they? There's got a few curvy features in that. So here we go. We're just going to loop this from here, and it's like a big kind of, well, I say it's like a really long, elongated arc, isn't it? Like an elongated, inverted arc, would you say? And it's just going to come up. There we go. And bring into a finger there. Nice. Quite a big, fat, chunky finger. Ooh, there we go. All right. Okay, so this is very much his front-facing arm. We've just done that finger there. Very, very fat sausage. And we're just going to now cup the next one in and the next one in. They're not completely together. There are gaps in between these fingers, so we've just got to be mindful of that. Very similar to the eyes there, for example. You know, you might think, oh, there's some fingers there, let's make them together. Just be conscious that there are some gaps there. That's another example of that and where it can go wrong. All right, so here we go. We're just going to now add another finger here. Okay, it just comes slightly round, and again, just cup it through. Nice, okay, and again, his little small finger there. I don't know what that is. Oh, there we go. Nice, and then it does actually cut right. It's got quite a fat bit there, actually. It's got quite a fat bit. And then, yeah, there we go. We'll just swoop this in. Nice, okie dokie. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm quite happy with how that has come out. And again, like I said, you know, you've got a basic pencil mark here to work with. And if you need to fatten things up, thin things up, you know, go for it. You've got your rubber. That's what it's there for. But again, you're just building the basic blocks, aren't you? So again, quite happy with that. All right, there we go. Lovely, okay. As we're here then, we will just work the back arm now. I have quite another simple shape really if you just break it down into basic blocks. So again, it is just coming from that, yeah, I would say original rectangle that we drew. And we'll just kind of, yeah, maybe we might bring it up slightly because it might just lose a bit of space here. But nevertheless, it's easy to put in. All right, if we just need to work it a little bit. So here we go. I might actually just bring it up ever so slightly. There we go. So maybe just for the purpose of this bit of art, I might just cut it short slightly. And then just feed it through there, nice. Oh, his finger's quite chunky there, so we might just have to rework that a little bit. Hey, there we go. Nice. There we go. And of course, yes, once we get this bit sorted, we could probably actually make it look like, yeah, there's a little bit more to that. Because in this picture here, it does protrude out just a little bit more. But again, very conscious that it might actually go over the side a little bit. So that is one thing you do have to be mindful of when you're simply not just tracing, you know, and making it a little bit bigger. You do have to factor in those things. So you might have to shrink things a little bit, but work something in somewhere else. So that's what we will try and do maybe over here. All right, okay, so not looking too bad at all. All right then, okay, and this is quite a fat Homer. I'm quite liking this. Right then, okay, so what we'll do is now we will just add maybe, yeah, we'll come onto his body a little bit, maybe add a bit of the t-shirt. This is actually quite an easy stage to do. So again, just following my pencil marks now, we're just actually basically going to draw his t-shirt. That shouldn't be too hard, guys. So we're just coming off the back here, the little line here, and then here we go. We're going to swoop this around. Nice. Okay, and then this actually just comes down ever so slightly, and then around, and then, yeah, there we go. All right, okay, yeah, there's his top. There's his top. I'm quite happy with that. And then we'll start to add, yeah, I think we'll start to add his legs now. Okay, so if you look at his bum, it just swoops right round, doesn't it? So that's another big C shape that we can get to grips with. So let's have a little go at that now, just swooping his kind of his bum into action. So let's go, let's go. All right, so again, and then we can use the circle to just help us out a little bit there. Yeah, hopefully this is picking up nicely. Yeah, there we go. Of course, his knee came up quite a bit, didn't it? So we can just bring this knee up and then shoot it round into his boot there. These are just a very kind of, yeah, basic shapes at the moment. And where did this go? Nice. Okay, so just a bit of a line now coming from his bum. All right, okay, lovely. And then we had his other leg here, just swooping around. Now I am just kind of going a little bit freestyle here, guys. I do apologise. Normally I do like to kind of break things down into a little bit more. But this is a little bit of a new one for me. So just going to bear with me. Again, I don't like to cut the camera or anything. I do like you guys to stay with me. Because I do want to make, it very authentic and stuff. I'll just see what I do, and then I'll help you break it down into a few more elements there. All right, so okay. I think his bum actually needs to come around a little bit more. He seems to be a little bit squished up a little bit there, doesn't he? Just the way we've worked that circle in. So you know what? Let's just rub out a little bit of this. And of course, that's where the rubber comes in, of course, guys. Let's just try to rub some of these guidelines away now. We've got a basic understanding of where everything needs to go. And then we can start to work our magic with the pencil. Okay. And of course, yeah, like I said, I don't really like to cut the camera or anything because you might be following along with me and, you just need to sort everything out. So yeah, you can kind of see a basic shape now, but I think we just need to work it a little bit better. Just make things a little bit more fatter, a little bit more rounded. So his bum actually does, I would say, come out just a little bit more. Yeah, I think that looks a bit better. And his knee can just kind of come out maybe just a little bit more. So it doesn't look like it's so squished, if that makes sense. Ooh, dropping the pencil. And then, of course, we can rub away some of these lines that we've just drawn. Yeah, nice. And, of course, just rubbing away that debris. Yeah, there we go. Nice. All right, all right. This line doesn't look too bad, but we might just make his, maybe his foot just come out a little bit more. So we might just scoot this round a little bit more. Okay, yeah. Just make it a little bit longer so it doesn't look as squished, if that makes sense. Lovely. And again, we can just rub out some of those lines that we don't need. Yeah, that's looking a little bit better, isn't it? Nice. Okay. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And yeah, I was right in saying this could now just jet down a little bit. Yeah, just jet down a little bit and maybe just make his boot just a little bit bigger. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, that's not looking too bad at all. So in terms of shapes, I would say yes, I did do that big oval to begin with, just to really get a bit of a guideline of what we needed to get a bit of perspective. And what I would say is like a bigger circle there for his bum. I keep using his bum. It is his bum. A bigger circle, I would say C shape to really get that, I would say, curvature of it. And then we just came up a little bit more with his knee. I think everything was just a little bit squished, wasn't it? But we just elongated everything to make it into a little bit more proportion. And I seem to think that has worked really nicely. With his feet, though, what you can do is, yeah, you can actually maybe make these into a bit of an oval now. So I would actually oval them out a little bit, and then you can start to work a few more characteristics and build them from the shapes, which I think will work really well. Yeah, I think that would be better. But we'll leave it there for now. What I would like to do is actually come and revisit back up here, and we can work in his kind of like collar, where this could maybe get a little bit more intricate. So let's have a little go at that now. So I would say that they are looking more towards rectangles. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to feed a few lines inwards here. All right, and it does just curve around the back there, doesn't it? You can just fill this out a little bit. Okay, and then just jet it off down there. Nice, okay. And then his collar, his sleeve can just come through there, can't it? All right, nice. Okay, and then his neck does just come through a little bit. And then again, we're just going to jet this collar off to one side and then down. And then just pick this through, I think. There we go, nice. Now, what I would like to do is just add a bit of a shoulder to this. To really make as if it looks like this arm is coming out and it's not so much tucked away. So just by adding a bit of a shoulder can really help with that effect. And then of course it can just come and cut through, which I think will work really well. Nice. And then we can just jet that collar off to the side there. There we go. Nice. Okay. Yes. So I think that's looking quite nice there. There we go. Of course, we can just cut this bit off now. All right then. Yeah, very, very happy with how this has come out, guys. Oh my gosh, that is so iconic, isn't it? It is that Homer, isn't it? From the box art. Wow, wow, wow. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, yeah. So let's just maybe work those shoes, add a few little characteristics here and there, and I think that is it. That is ready for the black liner. Can you believe? So yeah, here we go. Let's just add a little bit more detail to the shoes now. So he has got a little bit of a. We'll start with this one here. His right. Is it? Well, yeah, it's kind of his right leg, isn't it? Left leg. Here we go. So he has got a bit of a sole. So we'll just scoot this round here first and then cut it through here like that. And then we'll just, yeah, it's kind of like he has got almost like a high heel kind of thing going on there. He has got a little bit of a bump, and then we'll make it into, yeah, there we go. Nice. It is kind of like a big bumpy shiny shoe. And then of course he has got a bit of a ridge around his trouser leg there. So let's just bring that in from his trouser leg. There we go. Nice. All right, okay. And then of course just rub out any unnecessary lines. Nice. Okay, okay. And then pretty much the same with this boot now. So it does kind of come out just a little bit. And it kind of just tucks through there. And then it comes around. Whoa. Into actually, I would say, yeah, more of a point. And then actually it does kind of just come, it arcs around a little bit. And then that's when we can add that kind of big bit of his trouser there. Oh, yes, okay, wow. And of course, just rub out those unnecessary lines that you don't need. And of course, his boot has, or shoe has just come into play now, which works really nicely. Oh, brilliant. Wow, oh, wow. Okay, guys, I am very happy with how this Homer has come out. How iconic is that? That is literally the Homer, isn't it? That is ingrained in everyone's mind from that lovely PlayStation 2 hit and run box, isn't it? So, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go around this in black. All right, I hope you guys are going to do it as well. And then, yeah, I think this will set up us perfectly tomorrow for a bit of a let's colour. Right, okay. So, yeah, I'm just going to go around this in black. And, yeah, sit back, relax. You might see some footage of me doing that. And then we'll go and set back up in the art. What did I say? Art studio? Main studio.
Back up in the art. What did I say? Art studio. Main studio.
And right then, guys, I have actually made a coffee now, so let's go. Mmm. Okay, lovely going on my crash coaster there. And yes, here we go. We have returned with a really lovely Homer Simpson here. I am so pleased with how this turned out. I even added some of that iconic green slime that is just featured on the box art there beneath Homer's feet to really come alive with that iconic box art there. I don't know how many times I've used the word iconic.
Iconic box art there. I don't know how many times I've used the word iconic.
But it really, really is, isn't it? Staple of everyone's childhood. I did say at the start that I would have actually liked to have added the really awesome fire effect there, that fire ring with Bart and Lisa jetting through with a car, but maybe mixing it up slightly and popping a burger car there with Patrick and SpongeBob. I don't think I'm actually going to have enough room now. I didn't realize how big I was actually going to make Homer here, but I think I got a little bit too carried away. But, that doesn't mean I can't do that. I could actually then get get another A5 piece of paper and work a ring of fire and these guys into it and actually stick it all together and put it on a bigger piece. So for example, maybe you know the fire effect here with the burger car going through, and I've cut it all out really nicely and putting on some sort of like A3 piece. I have done that before actually quite a few times. If I want a bigger art piece, I still work on A5 and then cut out the images and then dot them around on a bigger piece of paper. So that works well for me if I'm having to try and tackle larger pieces at a larger scale. So you know, I could do, especially as our subscribers are really upping it now, and I want to, really pull out the stops for some of our bigger milestones, you know. Maybe 500, which is nearly, you know, halfway to 1,000. I could, you know, maybe do a bigger art piece as a giveaway, and you know, maybe this could be one of them. But there you go. That is my Homer from the Simpsons Hit and Run box case. I absolutely love it. Very, very happy with that. And of course, tomorrow, hopefully, we'll color this bad boy in. Yeah. Well then, guys, well, that is it for me today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and hopefully I'll catch you in tomorrow's YouTube video and TikTok live. And we'll get
a little bit arty-farty.
Right then, guys, the Artsy Gamer, over and out.